Hey everyone, Internet Vicious Book Reader here. Today I want to talk about the diet myth, the real science behind what we eat by Tim Spector. As usual with books related to weight loss like this one, I don't care what you want to do. If you want to be more healthy, good for you. If you don't want to, whatever, take up space, it's your birthright. I'm interested in reading the book as usual for the knowledge aspect of what I can learn from it. I don't care much for opinion about what's better for someone's life, okay? And with that said, with food, there's this common misconception that you need to live a miserable life in order to eat healthy. It does not help that some of the fakest people on Hollywood, like The Rock and Chris Hemsworth, promoting a fake body image while hiding a lot of real injections. It's not really a problem if they did those things openly, since the injection alone won't get them their look without the hard work. But since they're selling their look as if they're using the most healthy and most natural lifestyle, it becomes misleading. It's one of the many reasons the misconception of low calories, low fat is promoted in modern age is the way to a healthy diet. Diet as in eating habit, not diet as in eating less for a few months. Then as if that's not enough of a problem, food companies love to just slap healthy label on their products. General Mills, Kellogg's, and post-consumer brand last year is still on an ongoing lawsuit, so they can still put healthy on their highly unhealthy products, adding to the pile of misconception about healthy food. The author, Tim Spector, is a doctor, or more specifically now, a researcher whose main research is the study of twins, but he has focused a lot more on study of gut biome in recent years. Some of the studies listed in this book even almost always involve twins in the data. For example, early in the book, he tried to compare diet for twins with BMI that has reached obesity, then one of them are put on a routine diet and the other not. The result after 20 years are all the twins more or less have the same weight after the diet and before the diet. This is because obesity changes a person on a biological level. Once someone has been obese for a while, a whole series of biological changes transpire to maintain or increase their fat storage and the brain's reward mechanism for food. This is why most diets fail. Obesity also unfortunately is still not officially labeled as a disease yet, and as a result there is a little data on it since the research on it is more difficult to get funded, even though the result of the research will most likely benefit even people who are not obese. The book then goes into one of the most underappreciated food components, the tiny microbes we knew thanks to the work of Anton Leeuwenhoek, whose name I just butchered and who is considered to be the father of microbiology. Microbes are in everything. In our body, inside and outside, the air, the earth, water, and even fire has microbes on them. There was even some studies that showed how a normal mice who is injected with the microbes from a pregnant woman also got fatter compared to the rats without the microbes injection, showing how important microbes are in our healthy diet. The book continues to debunk the myth of calories, the most common oversimplification of how to lose weight, where people say that you just need to burn more calories than the calories you consume daily. This is dangerous not just because calories are important to our day-to-day life, but also because not all calories are built the same. A study in 2019 even shows that calories between processed food and unprocessed foods in the long term shows that the same number of calories intake both resulted in different weight gains, with processed food resulting in gaining more weight compared to unprocessed food. Another study using monkeys showed that the same ingredients with the only difference is one cooked using vegetable oil and the other is using more trans fat shows that the one with trans fat resulted in gaining more weight. So calories cannot be used as the only thing to count about gaining weight since everybody processes calories differently. Then how about burning weight using exercise? Well, exercise has a definite positive impact on health that might affect weight, but using exercise where the main purpose is reducing weight has been debunked in a lot of studies. Some studies have been shown that people still do the same calorie burning activities even with more leisure time, but obesity rates still increase. So it is mostly safe to conclude that the lack of exercise is not the main cause of obesity, at least safer than assuming that it is the cause. And next comes fat. Fat used to be and is still commonly viewed that it is a bad thing, which is not fully true since our body needs fat to live. A third of our body contains fat and some of our organs move because of fat. Cholesterol, one of the most known fat itself, consisted of two fats, HDL, which is a good thing that we need, and LDL, which is the one who got stuck in our heart and can cause heart failure and stroke. The book also took the time to explain how we got our omega-3, omega-6 priority wrong since omega-6 is more effective for our health. and the fish pills that contain omega-3 are often unregulated and contain less omega-3 than what is written. It also separates unsaturated fat, which is the good fat that comes from vegetable oil like olive and canola oil, the saturated fat oil, which has a lack of evidence of health unlike unsaturated oil. They came from meat and dairy products and palm and coconut oil. Then lastly, there's the trans fat, the worst kind of fat, which comes from processed and fried food. Unfortunately, we already antagonized fat for so long for being purely a bad thing thanks to the 7-country study by Ansel Keys, one of the earliest study on food and health which had a lot of wrong assumptions in it. What the study said, there are so much fat that are good for our health. Even saturated fat that I've said needed more research has some food with it that contains a lot of good microbiome like cheese. And by cheese, of course, I don't mean the plastic one like Kraft since those are processed food. Even Crete had a famous diet that consisted of high-fat diet that is famous for being healthy not just through anecdotal evidence but also through studies. Meanwhile, trans fat, the one main fat that has already proven as a bad one, are in a lot of food like baked goods, cake, cookies, pies, and even snacks like Doritos and Cheetos. In 2003, there's even a man who sued Nabisco for the fat in Oreo and won the lawsuit. The book breaks down all these components in each detail so we can learn more about them. But of course, in my video about the 100 Years of War, I said that you need to fact check everything, whether they're from people you trust or not trust, and whether you like the information you heard or not. It's so you don't only fact check based on preferential. It's usually easier to separate knowledge and opinion, although it is a hassle to do when you fact check everything. So as usual with nonfiction, I try to also fact check the statement made in the book, and unfortunately for this book, it also made a few statements with no sources, and I cannot find the statement he's saying anywhere. He said that about 60% of UK citizens are on a diet in the opening of the book. Cannot find them from where I searched, so take those with a grain of salt. A lot of the statement in the opening following that also don't have any sources, including the 1 out of 5 kids in America are obese in 2019, which is confusing since the book actually had a lot of sources where we can check the validity of the data of a lot of his claims. But thankfully this doesn't affect the book too much. There are also a few studies where the sources are not linked, and while most of them I can find some sources that come from legitimate sites, like the unexpected connection between eating rice with chopstick and glucose intake. But there's a study about Quebec students that I cannot find the sources, so take also those with a grain of salt. Besides sources, you can also tell that the author is a person with money. Some of his recommended healthy food is the equivalent of designer food, so keep that in mind while you're reading it. But despite some of these blemishes, the book still managed to debunk a lot of diet myths by going in depth about food components. Not just what happens when you eat certain food nutrition, but also why what happens. The process on how this food transforms into nutrition in our body, and not just a body, but different kind of bodies. Because unfortunately for food consumption, there's no one size fits all. For some people, skipping breakfast is fine, but for some it is dangerous to skip breakfast. Low carb diet might work on some people, but for other people it'll risk their health. So the book demystifies a lot of these diets like keto and juice detox by both showing how they work and how they don't work. So instead of providing you with diets that you can just try and it might work or it might inevitably fail and then you give up on diet, what the book did is breaking down varieties of nutrients that comes from food. Every kind of fat, including the bad one and the good ones, protein from animal and non-animal, milk, and then carbohydrate is separated into 2 chapters, sugar and non-sugar, so we can see borders between bad carbs and good carbs. Fiber of course got its own chapter because it is possibly the most important component for weight loss. And besides those nutrition, the book also went into artificial sweetener, preservative, cocoa, and caffeine to see its effect on us, especially caffeine, which have both good and bad effects. It even debunked the effectiveness of multivitamin supplement. So before we end it, I'll add this quote just for fun. More recently, the benefits of multivitamins have been assessed and reported on with considerable attendant publicity. Reports included a meta-analysis of over 27 existing studies and 2 new large randomized gold standard studies of multivitamins, totaling close to 500,000 people. They have shown convincingly no benefit whatsoever. The book refuses to give you easy answers since there mostly is none. And by doing that, it shows how much people that are trying to give you easy answer are just there to sell you something. To maybe buy their fitness menu or diet menu, or just you'll waste your time by trying to keep up with their content. There are so much of those already, so I'm glad that books like this exist. I give this a 3.75. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.